everyone, Khadijah Fox here with DBA TV, and today we have a guest.
Hi, my name is Irie. I am a certified full-spectrum holistic doula from the Divine Birth Academy, and I have my own wellness business called Satya Soul Family Wellness. I am a new mother. I just gave birth a little over a year ago, and I have 2 bonus kids as well.
Ooh. Yes, we want to thank you for joining us today as we'll be talking about breastfeeding while Black. And so my first question to you is, what has your personal breastfeeding experience look like, and how has being a Black woman shaped your journey?
So it was a little rocky start.
Okay.
My birth was not at all how I planned it.
Yeah.
I was planning like a full natural sovereign at home water birth, and it just didn't turn out that way. Ended up having an emergency C-section, and so my baby had to get taken to the NICU, and so that was a lot for me because my milk was not coming in at first. I didn't expect all of that at all, and so I felt kind of, even being trained as a doula, I still felt like, oh my gosh, like I never expected this for myself. So I was kind of really leaning on support from, the other doulas from my village, and just like really praying through it. What helped my milk come in was really just relaxing. I was still in the hospital. I refused to go home before I could bring my baby. I was like, I'm not leaving my baby with these people.
Good.
So I got one of those little overnight parent rooms that they have at the hospital. And I would go into the NICU every 2 hours, and I would latch him. And so for the first day, they were like, hey, he's not really, like, he hasn't pooped, and I think he's really hungry. Like, because I couldn't tell if anything was coming yet. I hadn't pumped yet. And so I did end up having them give him formula just because I was wanting him to get out of there. And his weight was fine, but they were just like wanting him to, I don't even know what the issue really was, but
I feel that.
Yeah, what helped me was relaxing. So I put on some music and I went into my little parent room and I just cried, I let myself express what I was feeling, and I listened to the song and I meditated, and I just really imagined myself outside in a natural space, and I just imagined that everything had gone as I wanted it to in my birth. And I just imagined myself, and I feel like I kind of transported myself to that space energetically. And so then my body responded by producing that milk, and I had my first letdown, and it was just such an emotional moment for me because I realized, like, oh my gosh, this is, I'm doing this, and and it didn't look how I thought it would look, but I'm still here and I'm still doing it.
I love it.
Since then it was the latching part was easy. He latched very well right away as soon as I got out of the operating room. But it was the pumping part that was a little more difficult for me. I couldn't really pump milk out, and I ended up realizing it was just the pump that I was using, but it was a little bit of trial and error. I think to tie it back into the question, like being a Black woman, I would say that I really had to kind of not even think about it through that lens. Like, I just really had to see myself as his mother. And regardless of, like, being so hyper aware of, like, all the ancestral pain that we've been through can sometimes be a blockage.
That's right.
In terms of how we view ourselves.
That's true.
And I really had to go to that place of just, like, no ego, which really means, like, no identity. Like, my only identity in that first 3 months was his mother. And that's a hard thing to do, especially because I'm young, and I'm still figuring out really who I am and what that can look like. But I had to detach from the history behind breastfeeding. And
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, because I think we do hold on to so much of, like, the statistics, especially as doulas. We're trained to know what is a possibility for us to experience. But you not keeping that in your forefront, it helps you not to block yourself off even more. Like, you can almost manifest it sometime, I feel like, I feel that. That's good. Okay. Thank you for that. And then, so what would you say, what kind of support or lack of support did you encounter from family or healthcare providers or your community, and how did that affect your journey?
I think my family was very supportive. My mother gave birth to all of her babies naturally. I'm the oldest, so that's kind of how I started being a doula. Like, I was there for all her births. So she didn't really she didn't really need to do much with me. It was just kind of like I knew what to do because I saw her do all of that. So family support, it was almost like I was kind of afraid to tell them that he had formula because it was so expected for me to just be natural that, you know, I kind of had to shatter that a little bit. And they didn't judge me for it though. They were very supportive and they understood that, you know, things went differently than
so that fear though.
Yeah. I think as far as like the support, like healthcare providers, the NICU nurses that I had were angels. They're so sweet. They're so sweet. But I do wish that they would have let me try to latch him longer. It was really only for a day that I tried. And, you know, they were like, he's hungry. I think that if I would have just kept doing that latch, like he would have gotten the hang of first milk, you know? That's as much as he was latching, I'm not entirely sure that there was milk that was like actually released to him. So I wish that I would have been more persistent with trying. They didn't make me feel like I had to give him formula though.
Okay, that's good.
Luckily the nurse on shift, like she was really such an angel and she was like, you don't have to, but you know, it's totally your choice. And I'm grateful for that because that's not what I expected going to the hospital. I was ready to like for war.
I know.
I was ready for war. But the NICU nurses in particular were really, really patient with me. And they helped me latch. They helped me with positioning. They helped me with, you know, just making sure that he's comfortable and that I'm comfortable and, you know, being hooked up to all those wires is a lot, but they were really supportive.
That's good.
Yeah. I think it was pretty good support for me.
Awesome. Okay. So then that brings us into our next conversation. Why do you think that conversations around Black breastfeeding are important? And then what do you want other Black parents to know or feel encouraged by?
I think they're super important, these conversations. So important, especially because historically women didn't always get a chance to speak up.
Yeah.
And so now we do. We have that chance and we have people listening, I think, for once in a millennia. It's really a crucial moment. And the more that we talk about and the more that we share experiences, the less new parents have to go through it blindly.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody's experience is going to be unique.
Yeah.
But there are so many people who have already experienced so many different things.
Yes.
And so by putting our stories out there and by telling our side of it, you know, we really equip people to be held in an invisible community, you know? If we're not there physically, we can be there mentally. And
I like that.
You know, just empower. I think... I really want Black parents, new Black parents to feel encouraged in knowing that, you know, we are such a powerful people and we are such a nourishing people, you know, like there's so much in our DNA that we give to our children and that comes with a lot of, you know, there's a lot of pain and trauma that we do inherently give our children. But I think that in this particular generation of parents, we're, like we were saying earlier, we're wanting our children to have a good experience. We're coming
on
healed.
Purpose.
We're healing with them and really giving them a chance to see how that looks. And I think that's a new thing, you know, like I don't know if anyone before this generation had parents that really actively did that healing work and had the language and vocabulary for it.
Yes.
And so I want new Black parents to feel encouraged in knowing that we have so many resources and so many tools available to us and we have to use them. We have to use them and we have to spread them and make each other aware of them because that will, you know, create such a beautiful future. And I feel like we're well on the way to that.
No, I agree with you 100%. I love that you use the term invisible community. I think that's beautiful because it speaks so strongly. Like you just know you're covered and like there's someone out there looking out for you, just spreading the word for you on your behalf. You'll get it sooner or later, you know, like I love that. Okay. So, what did you face, if any, did you face any myths or pressures or stigmas around breastfeeding, especially within your own like cultural circles? Did you experience anything like that? And how did you navigate it?
I think kind of, it shows up, I think just my life is so paradoxical and so weird. Like it's so nuanced. I feel like the experiences that I've had are just, I don't know anyone else who's had these particular experiences, you know? So like I was saying, my family is very natural and very like homeopathic, just very, you know, rooted in all that. So growing up, I just had this idea that I would do it the same way. But because things turned out differently for me, I had to turn to formula at certain points. I had to like give him bottles. You know, there are certain things that I had to let go of. And that was difficult for me because it's almost like I didn't have the myth that breastfeeding was nasty or bad or anything like that. It was like, this is what you have to do.
And that's
this
the
is
only
what
way.
should be doing. This is the only way. And so I kind of had to shatter that for my mental health as a mom. You know, I was facing so much guilt and so much shame for deviating from that natural path. But I had to really go through a process of self-acceptance and just understanding, like, I'm doing the best I can, and it's not always going to be perfect, or it's not always going to be even like my mother had.
That's
you
right.
know? Like, I'm not her, and my body
is different. That's
it just did different things, you know? And I feel like it took me this whole year to really come to terms with that and, like, not beat myself up about it. But, girl.
I love that.
And I'm still working through it every single day. But, it's okay if breastfeeding doesn't look how you want it to.
Yeah.
It's okay if you don't exclusively breastfeed. What matters is that you're trying and your baby is getting that milk, you know?
That's right.
Like, do it as much as you can, but don't overexert yourself to the point where you're completely exhausted just trying, because that's not what we want. You know, we want a healthy mama. So
the energy transfers either way. So we don't give them negative energy too.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's really good. Listen, y'all. Listen, she's giving jewels.
Lived experience, y'all. Trust me, I done been through the butt.
Right. Truck it. Okay. Last question for you. What would have made your breastfeeding journey easier or more empowering for you? And how can we as a community create the kind of support for that type of support for other new Black parents?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Food, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never in my life have I felt so hungry as I did in the early postpartum. Yeah. And it wasn't like my husband wasn't feeding me. He fed me, girl, like all the time. But it wasn't the fact that I wasn't being fed. It was that the food that is available isn't nourishing. And this is coming from someone who's primarily plant-based and eats mostly organic food. Yeah. Even that stuff just felt empty to me at certain points. Wow. And there are like so many things that I know about nutrition and like plant-based eating. Yeah. But that stuff that you really need to eat to get that level of nutrients that will like help you thrive in plant-based lifestyle is not accessible or affordable. It's not. For one, the meal prepping, the time, it takes so much like extra money to get those whole food ingredients. Especially here in Stockton, we're in a food desert. Extremely in a food desert. We got Sprouts, we got Trader Joe's, but even then, like, girl, one bag of groceries in there is like $80.
It's crazy.
You know, and
it's crazy.
We can't afford to eat the ways that I feel like I needed to eat to feel truly nourished and to give my baby that milk. So I think that was the biggest thing for me, feeling nourished. And that goes beyond food. That goes into like environmentally, your household, your neighbors, your community, whether or not you feel like you need to go back to work. Like, I didn't feel nourished, and that has nothing to do with like how my partner showed up for me or how I showed up for myself. Absolutely. You know, like we're doing the best we can, but it's truly a sign of the times. You know, like when a mother can eat all day and still feel so undernourished. Wow. It says a lot about the quality of food that we have available to us. And I think that for new parents, you know, a resource I would love to see is a program where healthy produce can be delivered. We have a lot of farms in Stockton. Yeah. And so I would love to see that just be an automatic given for new parents. Right. Like, there shouldn't be no eligibility criteria. There shouldn't be no income requirements. Right. Like, we're having a baby, we need to be fed. Right. And it should just be given to us. And I feel like that would automatically change a lot for parents, you know? We shouldn't be having to go to the grocery store and just be like, oh my God, I can only get one can of beans. And one bag of rice. Like, even WIC, like, I love WIC as a resource, but they could. But the stuff is just cool. They could do better because I don't even. We ain't gonna get to that. It's helpful, I feel it though, but it's a lot of stuff that just ends up sitting in your cabinets because it's not really nourishing. It's not nourishing. You know? It's not. It's not, and it's sad. But I think that parents, we deserve to feel nourished, especially the mothers, especially the fathers, like. You know, we holding it down. So I would love to see. I mean, and thankfully, more urban Black farmers are not that they've been here for a time, but we're just now getting more awareness of them. And so I think that's really important for that resource to be like
like put out there.
Yes.
Edible Schoolyard, for example, once a week they give out free produce bags, you know? So things like that, making sure that even if it's just us on our platform, sharing the resource and making sure people know, like, it makes a big difference. I feel like even just keeping your milk supply up and all of that, like beans and rice ain't gonna cut it all the time.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And it's like hormonally too. You know? Oh my God. We're exposed to so many hormones and stuff in the food. And I feel like that affected, you know, postpartum depression and everything. Like I'm still going through that. I still am a full year and a half later. And I think it really has a lot to do with the food and the water, the juices, all the things that we're intaking that our bodies are having to work hard to filter that stuff out. Like it shouldn't be that way.
That's really good. I'm glad that you took it to that point. You know, I don't think people think about that as far as like the nourishment part of breastfeeding or just the experience in itself. Being hungry still, you know,
being
just
hungry.
Like in all the ways, not just like stomach, but like spiritual, emotional, like all of those things. Postpartumly for men and women, there's a hunger there still that I feel like our community is experiencing and don't have the adequate resources to fill that void, you know,
or even the language to express
that.
You know?
Yeah.
I think we're just so accustomed to just like getting by and just thinking that it's okay if we're, you know, quote unquote stable. But I think that hunger too that I speak of was a hunger in my spirit and a knowing that like the way that things are with the nuclear family dynamic is not sustainable, and it's like you don't see it until you're in it, you know. I thought I was like, I could have a baby, girl. I had no idea the level of like village that is required and needed, and we don't have that. We really don't have
not
that.
like grandma and them did. Great grandma.
Great grandma.
Right. Well, I really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you so much for sharing your experience of breastfeeding as a Black woman. For your jewels that you've given to the community. We really appreciate you, Miss Irie.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. Can you tell us where we can find you on social medias, things like that?
Yes, you can find my page, Satya, SATY, _soul, SOL, on Instagram. I don't have a Facebook page because they don't like me. They don't let you have wellness businesses on Facebook. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, I did not.
They deactivated me because I'm a wellness page. So they're like, you can't do that. And I was like, okay. So it's just Instagram. A lot. Also my website, satyasoulfam.com.
Okay. Love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.